Evan. Thank you for being here. It's my understanding that these were COVID relief grants. Is that correct?
Ma'am, that's what they called them.
But they are called COVID relief grants?
That's what they're called. I don't believe that the Democratic partisans who actually run the institution suddenly discovered a concern for COVID, and the fact that they are experts in voter turnout for one particular party entirely slipped their mind.
And specifically, the money was to help counties and local election officials to ensure safe and healthy elections because of the pandemic. Isn't that correct?
That's what they said, ma'am.
Okay, and with respect to that, the counties could seek those grants, get the grants, and then use them very specifically for PPE or any other initiatives that were intended to make it safer for voters to actually vote during a pandemic.
Well, you know, ma'am, that is a wonderful question, because I think you should be investigating those counties to see if that's what they did. I can show you some of the contracts that have been made public that were made with places like Philadelphia, for instance. PPE was not a very high priority in the contracts that they made with those government jurisdictions. What mattered was things like advertising and voter education materials and the rest. So I'm sorry, I don't believe they're very sincere.
Okay.
There is very little evidence that the money went toward actual COVID concerns. And again, I urge you all to investigate that to see where the truth lies.
The details on why the judge said no.
Here on this cafe?
Tavarius, is everything okay?
Okay. My government leaders have abandoned me.
Are you the owner?
$4 trillion of stimulus money. They gave it to who? Special interest groups and campaign donors. I'm Dave Morse. I own the place.
So what's going on?
What's going on? You know what's going on.
Tell me. You tell me.
Hey, we got a government that has taken the stimulus money. They gave it to special campaign donors. They gave it to special interests. They abandoned me, and they have put me in a position where I have to fight back. Okay?
So do you feel that this is the right thing to do?
Absolutely. I feel everybody needs to stand up. Hey, listen, there was enough money to give every family in this country $20,000 to go home for 2 months. They chose to give it to special interests and campaign donors, the Kennedy Space Center, and they abandoned us. So you could have given me money. I'd gladly walk away for 60 days and let this virus settle down. I'm not going to do it alone. Okay?
Are you going to continue to violate the state's orders and stay open?
This is a state order. This isn't an order. This is a conspiracy. This is a tyranny.
What do you want to tell other restaurant owners who...
Wake up. Stand up. This is America. Be free.
Dear deep state Democrats, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, rhinos, traitors and enemies foreign and domestic, your masks won't silence us. Your shutdowns won't stop us. Your riots don't scare us. You are not as disciplined as the British. You are not as organized as the Nazis. You are not as fierce as the Imperial Japanese. You are not as brutal as ISIS. And we beat them all.
2 weeks ago, the United States officially recognized the legitimate government of Venezuela and its new president, Juan Guaido. We stand with the Venezuelan people in their noble quest for freedom, and we condemn the brutality of the Maduro regime, whose socialist policies have turned that nation from being the wealthiest in South America into a state of abject poverty and despair. Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free.
Many American millennials seem to be drawn to socialism. They came out in big numbers for Bernie Sanders in the 2016 presidential primaries. They rail against capitalism on their college campuses. They wear Che Guevara t-shirts to signal their socialist virtue. I know a lot about socialism. I live in Rio de Janeiro and I work throughout Brazil as a journalist for a popular magazine. In the early 2000s, Brazil's economy was growing rapidly. The government had enacted economic and monetary reforms and divested holdings in some state-run companies, giving the private sector more room to breathe. Inflation, a chronic problem in Brazil, was dramatically reduced. Foreign investors poured into the country, eager to catch a portion of our expanding economy. The future seemed promising. But today, our economy is in shambles, unemployment and debt are massive, and powerful politicians are being investigated for involvement in the largest scandals of fraud and corruption in the country's history. What happened? In 2002, a socialist politician named Lula da Silva ran for the presidency. He was a socialist, but painted himself as a modern, cool kind of socialist. He would be the politician who would heal national divisions and unite everyone. He even had a nickname, Lulinha Paz e Amor, which means Little Lula Peace and Love in Portuguese. But the old message about the need for income redistribution to decrease inequality was still there. The media, academic elite and celebrities assured Brazilians that by transferring the money from the rich to the poor could finally be richer. But the only ones who really got rich were Lula and his corporate and political friends. It only got worse under his successor, Dilma Rousseff. The socialists increased government spending, deficits, and debt. They called it a stimulus. They increased the minimum wage and the benefits of social programs. They call it social justice. They increased the salaries and retirement benefits of the civil service. They called it investing in the future. They handed out thousands of jobs in the government and state-owned companies as favors to their political allies. And they called it good governance. It worked for a while. Socialism always works at the beginning. But government spending just kept going up, and then Lula's socialist paradise fell apart and the economy fell with it. The outcome? From 2008 to 2015, government spending grew nearly 4 times as fast as tax revenue. The economy shrank 3.8% in 2015, the worst result in 25 years. That same year, a World Bank survey found Brazil's economy to be one of the world's worst. Out of 189 countries, we were the 16th hardest place to open a business, the 60th most difficult nation in which to register property, and the 12th most complex place to pay taxes. Economically and morally, the almost 15 years of socialist policies have greatly harmed Brazil. We also remain among the world's leaders in murder and robbery, and we rank near the bottom of industrialized nations in terms of education and healthcare. Americans take it for granted that they can be born into the lower class and reach the middle or even upper class. Many Brazilians take it for granted that they can't. But finally, some things are starting to change. There may be reason for hope. Today, more and more Brazilians see that capitalism and limited government are the only way forward. Thankfully for Brazil, Lula has been charged in several lawsuits for corruption, involvement in a criminal organization, influence peddling, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. Rousseff was impeached in 2016 for falsifying the government's finances and illegally using money from state-owned banks to run the government. This crisis prompted the new government to freeze federal spending, reduce the government's role in state-owned companies, and to encourage some of the massive federal workforce to resign. No one knows whether these basic measures will be enough to rescue Brazil economically. Truthfully, the damage has been so extensive it may take decades for the country to recover. But if we do, it won't be socialism that saves us.
Tonight, we renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
I want you to promise.
I promise.
No, I want you to promise that you will never let go.
That you will never let go.
Visit iwill.com/Ohio. God bless you. God bless the auto workers. God protect. Thank you. Which way am I going?
Thing I want to do. They want to phase out fossil fuels, and we're going to phase out fossil fuels.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Get out! Get out of here! Get out of here! Get out of here! Go! We are playing games. Fuck off! Go home!
Why you wearing a mask? Talk to me normally.
Yeah, watch out for him.
Can you take off the mask and talk to me like a normal person?
Go kill yourself. Fuck out. Go kill yourself. Go kill yourself.
It was not like a peaceful demonstration. They were somehow hypocrite because they are preaching to be tolerant, that we should be tolerant against them. But they were very aggressive. They were intolerant. All these kinds of things, and it was. Police had to intervene many times. So I think this says quite a lot about the situation.
Like 150 against about 10. Then they're going to be aggressive and throw.
So they punched you in the face?
Yes, they punched me in the face.
Just once or?
Only once. Yeah, and they want, they tried to grab me, and as well they want to grab my, the cape. The cape.
They tried to grab your cape.
They're kind of full aggressors. But we rip it off and we tried to even tear it.
Then you know sure that you're doing good when they are aggressive. So, and if you stay calm, then you know you cannot do better on that moment.
Hi.
Not marriage.
I'm gay.
Have you? I can take her to the courthouse right now.
This is what people in Columbus think.
No, that's no. Y'all are ridiculous. I'll be back out after I get a plate cheeseburger.
You're disgusting.
Honk for saying.
We'll pray for you, okay?
Yeah.
Gay marriage! Gay marriage! Have gay marriage!
Y'all are showing your intelligence level.
Yeah, we are.
You say anything but insults?
Hey man, is that the only word you know? Is
It's sad, you know. That's the next generation right there.
So you guys stay focused.
Yes, sir.
What's the matter?
Are you gonna like try to shove this down somebody's throat?
We're defending traditional marriage.
God, you know his 12 disciples.
We're not trying to be offensive. We're just defending traditional marriage.
You should not make people feel like they're wrong for what they believe in. It's sickening.
Ma'am.
This is so sickening to even walk down the street and see this.
Yes.
What are you insecure about? What are you insecure about?
Very good reason.
All of you, all of you. You.
First of all, you have to be like 2 feet away to read that manifesto.
Leviticus,
Good.
which is where most of the stuff in the Bible talks about homosexuality, also bans eating shellfish.
Oh yeah? Homosexuality is against natural law though.
Right, so you're just gonna...
No insults now.
I don't care. I'm insulting you. What makes that sin worse than your sin?
Don't shout now.
Answer my question.
What sin am I committing?
Being judgmental. And when you're there, you just suck in everything that one person is telling you.
Are you judging the church?
I am judging the
Okay,
church. I'm also judging you as a human being.
Okay, so I can't judge anybody? But you can judge me. I can't have a conversation with someone that's judgmental. I'm sorry.
Don't...
No, they're honking for us.
Okay, no. You know that, buddy.
Shut up. This is moral America.
Yeah! You're not polite.
Yeah! How about this guy over here?
Yeah.
Usually when you lose an argument, you start insulting people. I mean, he hasn't even argued, but he's already lost.
For the most part, you're open-minded. So you're in favor of like two-way street tolerance. So you should be open to us being at it.
Yeah, I am. I'm not telling you to leave.
Why are you cursing at us?
Because
So if you think somebody's wrong, you can carte blanche, do whatever you want. So you can kill, you can rob, you can cheat. And I'm asking, what are the limitations to what you can and can't do before you become intolerant?
I don't want to talk about tolerance.
Why? You're not tolerant?
Not with you guys, no.
Oh, okay, so it's a one-way street then. Now you're changing.
A little bit.
Oh, wow, really? So tolerance is a one-way street?
I don't want to argue with you. I just want to stay in here.
Yeah, because you're wrong. It's really hard to argue when you have a wrong point, when you're inconsistent.
What's over there? Alright, no arguments. See you later. You're done already? Yeah. I would get a better sign if I were you. Yeah. Just no. All around.
Is that your tolerance?
A glass full of water.
Would they have thrown the glass too?
Yeah, they did throw the glass.
Oh my god.
I saw it coming, so I preempted their throw by pushing my sign forward. Yeah, they're pretty violent.
Not really tolerant, huh?
No, not very tolerant.
Now more than ever, we need a president who will unite this country.
We will need a president who sees unifying people as a requirement of the job.
So I created Black Lives Matter Plaza right behind me as a place where we could come together to say enough.
Action begets action. Progress begets progress. And when we work together, we can accomplish anything.
Democrats came out to make the case for Joe Biden, and while unity was a common theme, no mention was made of the violent protests taking over cities across the nation.
So how can we achieve unity without confronting this violence?
Their purpose is to frighten people from voting.
The more chaos they can create, the more fear they can instill.
During this president's term, the unthinkable has become normal. He has tried to prevent people from voting, undermine the U.S. Postal Service.
In Operation Overlord, we freed Europe, and in the Pacific we turned the tide of destiny. We fought and killed and died for freedom and won over death, tyranny, and slavery. We are about to do it again. The tide of battle is turned. We have seized the initiative. This is the Great Reset versus the Great Awakening. This is the deep state Democrats, rhinos, China, Russia, and Iran versus us. We the people, patriots, digital soldiers, spiritual warriors, veterans, and the faithful. Our leader is Trump, our inspiration is divine. Our cause is just. Their leaders hide in the shadows, scripting their lives behind Biden's mask. We are winning. They are losing. They lost with Fast and Furious. They lost with Syria. They lost with Hillary. They lost with impeachment. They lost when they failed to stop me. And they lost when they failed to stop us. They are losing, and together as Team America we are making history. We are winning.